the one, the only, the final women's retreat.
Dun, dun,
Uh,
dun.
dun, dun. I never thought about that before. This was the big hurrah. This was it. This was the last women's retreat, and this is how it went down. I fought so hard to be the queen of women's retreats. Oh my gosh.
Faith can feel like hearts and butterflies until someone lights a match and burns it all to the ground. Welcome to the Burning Butterflies podcast.
The sad thing is that there's abuse of every kind within the church. But the spiritual abuse is the stuff that just
What's a place there shouldn't be abuse? Like, there just shouldn't be abuse in a place that claims to.
Well, it ruins your soul. If you're new here, we suggest listening to our prologue episode first. This is the story of two women's journey through toxic church culture and spiritual abuse, all while finding healing in the end.
Sometimes it's just the facts, and if you get offended by it, that's a you issue. And if we can't be mature enough to have these conversations, even if some of the topics are difficult, then shame on us.
All right. Well, I didn't know at the time it was going to be the last one. But, here we are. So Amanda has left the church and we had our photo shoot and, but we've been working on this retreat because this would have started around the beginning of the year anyway, where we start talking about women's retreat, which happens in May.
Mm-hmm.
And this one we were all really excited for. And there was a lot of buzz around it because we got shut down in 2020 and we had to have that retreat at the church. And so, we were like, this was a big deal like this year.
Yeah, everyone was so excited that, I even had people, because I had left the church at this point, but I didn't say things to people, but people knew like I hadn't been coming to church because of my son and his health issues. And I even had women like, I know you haven't gone in years, but you should come to this one. We didn't get to go last year. It's going to be so amazing. Yeah. We finally get to go.
Well, it was going to be absolutely amazing. I feel like just like in my marriage, how I was like holding on to this one hope, right? That really tied into where I was at with the church also, because at the end of the day, if I leave my husband, I have to leave the church.
Yeah.
I'm not still going to, that's not good. They are one and the same, right?
Well, let's just look at this logically. If you yell at Froggy and he tells his mommy, you can't sing on stage.
Right.
So
yeah, I have to be prim, proper, and perfect every week.
What are mommy and daddy going to do when you up and leave and then have him kicked out of the house?
Right.
It's just not logical for you to stay there.
Not going to happen. So, so it's so intertwined, but I feel like I had one foot out the door in both of them,
Yeah.
And I was giving my last ditch effort to both while also undermining my last ditch effort at every corner. So I wasn't doing myself any favors either way. But I painted this painting and it was not bright rainbow colors. But it was just a painting where I was moving color around one time. And it was pretty cool. And it did have a rainbow type effect to it. And it was diagonal on the canvas, whatever. It was just rainbow colors, just blended into
Which I'll have that picture over on our Patreon.
Yeah. And so I took I was really into turning my paintings into other things at the time. And so I took a picture of this painting because I really liked it. And then in my digital art world, I put this like real like grungy like filter over it, and it just looked like this. It was muted. The colors were muted. So just like this muted colored colors, stripes of color were coming out of this grungy dark circle, right? There's splatters and all kinds of things. And it was so not a rainbow that it didn't even occur to me that it was a rainbow.
Yeah.
Right? Even though it was a rainbow, right? But I didn't look at, there was nothing about it that like you looked at and you were like, oh, it's a rainbow.
Well,
But
and it's not like in like rainbow order.
no, but it was rainbow colors,
Yeah.
right? So it was rainbowy. It was a rainbow adjacent. But the picture that I ended up creating was just very grungy and very raw and very like edgy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the word I used, edgy. And in the middle, where this like these colors are emerging out of this darkness, it says emerge, right? And this was the logo in my head for this women's retreat, right? And not that this was going to be I say that because this wasn't really logo enough. This wasn't logo-y. This was a picture, but this is the inspiration for this retreat.
Yeah, but like you showed it to me, and
Yeah.
in my head, I'm like, ooh, black shirts.
Yeah.
With
like it could have been.
Like that's like, because that's like, you know, what popped into my head.
Yeah. And so like we got it, right? Like, so we're going through this whole planning thing for this retreat. And you have to keep in mind that Brandy and I have been battling left and right with Miss America because of the women's ministry breakfasts, right? Where we have to do all the work and she just wants to show up and play beauty queen. That's, you know, going 6 ways to Sunday. And then, so now we're planning this retreat. And it's Brandy and I who should be planning this retreat. I've had the inspiration. The retreat is called Emerge.
Yeah.
Because I named the retreat Emerge. And I'm getting all this pressure from Charlotte that I can't dictate everything. Like we have teams. So like when I'm meeting with Charlotte, like I really feel like I'm being taught how to lead these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's conversations like when you have to be like, step in, when not, like you have teams. There's women who do the team for this and they have a leader on that team. And your job is to make sure they're going to get the stuff done in time. And like, and you know, you go to the meetings, make sure they're on track with like to make sure when it all comes together, it's all cohesive. Yeah. Right. And so I'm taking this very seriously and I'm not on the t-shirt team, but as a leader, I'm showing up to the t-shirt team and Miss America is on the t-shirt team. She's the leader of the t-shirt team. And it is not going well. It's not going well at all. And we are 1 month away from the retreat. We cannot agree on a t-shirt design. And I feel like I am talking to a bunch of brick walls. And so like, I don't know how we got to this point because everybody seemed like we were all good. We were all on the same page. Everybody was caught in the vibe of Emerge, right? And then all of a sudden, I sat in a meeting and I was like, I think I'm missing the point. And everybody's like, what? Like, this was a meeting with all the leaders from all the groups.
Yeah.
This is like 1 month before. And we're all having this, like, what do we have to get done in the next month? Checking in. We're all on the same page. Life is good. Every other meeting I've been to, there's always a common thread. Everything everybody's saying is exactly the same and everything's good. And I'm sitting in this meeting and everybody is having that meeting except for me. And I was like, I don't get it. And they're like, what? And I was like, I don't understand what you all are talking about. Like, I don't see the vision. Like, I have no clue or concept where you guys are going with this. But you all agree with each other.
So
good job.
You being the lead, because I've been in meetings like this before.
Yeah.
You being the leader who is supposed to be one of the people leading this meeting.
Yeah.
Walk in and it feels very much like, did you all have a meeting without me?
Yeah.
To change the direction that we're going?
Like, and it was so weird because up until we're 1 month away.
Mm-hmm.
And up until this point, the only team that is having trouble is the t-shirt team.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is fine. I've had conversations with people, with the speakers, with all of it. Like, everything is fine.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm just like, yeah, this is weird. Like, it was the strangest thing. It was like showing up like the first time and being like, what you guys doing? You know, like,
Yeah.
oh, I have no idea what you're talking about, right? So weird, so bizarre. And I decided in that moment, and I was just like, well, here's the deal. Like, obviously, God's not showing me any of this, so I'm going to bow out.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't believe I did that right there in that moment. Like, I went to Charlotte right after that. Like, right after that meeting, I was talking to Charlotte, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm not participating in retreat anymore. Oh, she's like, oh, why not? Then I'm like, because I obviously am not seeing where this is going. Like, I'm the only one who doesn't see the vision. So I'm going to bow out.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of bumping heads with all of, like, there's no reason for that. I'll just bow out. And like, she was like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And this might have happened over the course of like a couple days, honestly. Mm-hmm. So I left that meeting, and like the next day, or like, yeah, because the t-shirt team still hadn't had anything. So it was like the next day, like I was confused about all of this, and I was deciding what I'm going to do. And then I have the pressure of like, I can't bow out a month before, right? Like, I want to, because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm in the twilight zone. And then Miss America comes up to me like the next day. So this meeting happened. It probably was a Wednesday night meeting. And then Thursday night at church, Miss America comes up to me and she goes, I have the t-shirt design and I think you're going to love it because it's totally edgy, just like you asked for. And I was like, awesome. Show me. And she pulls up this picture of a heart and a cross, and like the heart is like dissolving into like butterflies, right? Like
every other GD women's ministry image you've ever seen everywhere.
And I took one look at the picture and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And then I went and found Charlotte and I said, I cannot participate in this retreat anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's when she was like, oh, why? And I'm like, because.
So like, was her oh, why like, oh, why? Or her like fake,
No, it was
her
her.
fake surprise, like,
Oh, why?
oh, why?
Yeah, that one. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, because I am obviously like, yeah, all that stuff. I'm in the rock. Like everybody, you guys are doing your own thing. It's great. Everybody's got the vision. Everybody's got the vibe, but me. So I'm going to bow out. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm done, And I remember her like being like, oh, really? Like, it's like one of those, please stop. Don't stop.
Oh
Stop.
no, please
No,
stay. We want
please
you to
stay.
be a part of this.
Yeah.
Mm.
So there was not as much fight and argument as I normally would have got. I would have gotten the disappointed, like,
Yeah.
you always have had like, I've had those conversations and I will have one more of those conversations. Like, but yeah, I was like, okay, well, hold on. So, okay, hold on. I forgot a very important detail that I got to throw in there. So, Saturday before the meeting, like it is all coming back to me now. Saturday, we had women's breakfast. I spoke at women's breakfast
Mm-hmm.
and I gave a mic drop 10 out of 10 best women's breakfast. I'm going to be a professional speaker,
Mm-hmm.
speak, right? Ever,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was like, bam, phenomenal. We have the meeting on Wednesday. Thursday, she shows me the shirt. And I go right over to Charlotte, and we were at the church, and we were standing by the information desk, and I was like, yeah. So, and I gave her all of those, like, whatever, like, I'm sorry, everybody sees the same vision, everybody sees the same vibe, but me. And then I was like, and also like, I got nothing to talk about. Like, I'm having the hardest time. I see, I don't even have a talk. Like, I'm not being inspired with anything. And she was like,
Oh,
and
because
I'm
you
like,
were supposed to be one of the speakers too.
I was supposed to be one of the speakers.
Oh, okay.
I was like, but I'm not going to be able to do that. And I was like, and then it came up with like something about my talking and whatever. And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I said, and I told her, I said, yeah, like I haven't had any inspiration for retreat or whatever. So I need to bow out because like I totally had a great download and was inspired for joy in the journey.
Yeah.
For that talk. I mean, like that was
Yeah.
right because that just happened on Saturday. And I remember the look she gave me, and then her whole demeanor changed. She was like, "Oh, I see." She was like, "Fine." And it took me a few weeks, but I really think that she thought I said come to the table.
Oh.
Because the way that she reacted, because I was like, no, joy in the journey, like which was
Women's
the women's
breakfast. Yeah.
breakfast, right? And I had prepared and getting this great talk, like easy peasy lemon squeezy, but I was not coming up with anything for Emerge and I was struggling. And so I told her that, but her whole demeanor changed to where it clicked later that I was like, I think she thought I meant I'm being inspired for the podcast and nothing, like, because she was offended. And I was like, that was a weird response. So I bow out of this.
And it was probably one of those like, well, shit, Amanda just did the same thing and now you're going to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, and that's what I think happened. Like, I don't have any proof that. You'd have to ask her. You'd have to ask Charlotte if she thought that's what it was. But her whole demeanor changed that I was like, because it was a weird response because I was like, it was your breakfast that I gave that talk at, right? So, yeah, I bowed out. I dumped. I broke up with Women's Retreat. Like, I don't know how you go from like edgy, I'll never forget. Melissa, I've got the design for the t-shirt and it's so edgy. I don't know what was edgy about a heart and a cross, and like part of the heart was breaking off into butterfly. None of that is edgy. And it was like purple and yellow, and it was ugly. Like, it was ugly. And it was like Canva clip art classic. That's what it was. It was a
Well, because she made it on Canva, because that's the only thing she knew how to use.
right. I still to this day don't know what was edgy about it. Like, girlfriend, you don't even know the meaning of the word edgy. Like, so you want to talk about the backlash from my decision to do that? Let's talk about the backlash. I think this will go down in infamy of being the most traumatizing experience that I have had in my entire life as an adult, and I was married to a psychopath. But this one meeting was more traumatizing than all of that. Okay, close. Oh my gosh. So Brandy and I get called into having a meeting with Charlotte and Miss America and Brandy and I, right? So the four of us have to go and have coffee.
Which I'm trying to, because Brandy said something about Miss America to Charlotte. And that's why Brandy had to go to this meeting. And I can't remember what she said, but it was something along the lines of like, she just wants to be in charge. She is coming to women's breakfast. She's not doing anything. And then you were more like the women's retreat side of it.
Yeah. So Brandy and I have both continually vocalized our issues with Miss America. And I guess my quitting retreat spurred on that we need to have a meeting. And so this was not just like, I've been to lots of coffee dates and meetings with women from the church. And you go to the local coffee house and you find whatever open table, you order your coffee, you sit, you have your drinks, la-di-da-di. No, Charlotte reserved the room. She called the coffee shop and reserved their meeting room for our coffee time.
Which, I'm sorry, this makes me so mad because when she blindsided me in the middle of the same coffee shop over the whole children's ministry director and her and me and all this stuff, and like I cried, and it was like so humiliating and embarrassing because we live in a small town, and so if you're going to cry in public, of course everyone you know is going to walk into the effing coffee shop.
That's the day everybody's getting coffee.
That's the day everyone's getting coffee, and then they're, oh, are you okay? You know, no, I'm not. My pastor's wife just blindsided me with information. I had to do that in public, but you guys get the freaking meeting room.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue. Sorry.
So she books the meeting room. We get our coffee. We sit down. She closes the doors. And we have to have this little powwow. She goes, I have this exercise for situations like this. This is going to fix everything or whatever, right? And so she's like, we're going to go around the room and we're going to say what it is that, like, something negative about each other, right? Like,
so this isn't something that Charlotte has ever done ever before.
No,
ever.
I've never experienced anything like
you
this.
You know what I think it was?
Do
you remember when the elders, they all had to sit in a circle and then someone's had to sit in the middle and they had to like tell them things that they needed to work on?
Yeah, share their, like, they had to expose a weakness of what they see in the other person.
And it was all about like
accepting accountability
and I don't know, some shit
Yes.
like that. I think that's
Yeah.
where she got it from.
Yeah, I think so too. And so we had to go around and share what it was like, and I can't remember how it was worded. Like, it wasn't like, tell what you're mad about, but like, I don't know. It's just so whack. So, no big deal, right? Brandy and I got this. Like, what's the worst thing you're going to say about me? Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to tell me anything I don't know.
Exactly. You and Brandy, like, and here's the thing. You were married to Froggy.
Yeah.
Brandy worked in the office with Tom.
Yeah.
Do you not think either one of you have ever heard, like, your worst faults screamed at you?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like, I could have written the script for like what you were gonna say, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Miss America, like Charlotte, whatever. I already know your beef with me, right? Like, and it just comes down to, and the thing you're gonna beef about is gonna be like my personality.
Yeah.
And maybe it would be like, oh yeah, I suck at time management. You're right. ADHD. Been there my whole, like,
Yeah.
nothing you say to me that irritates you is just gonna basically be my non-type anus, right?
Well,
Like,
and it's all like, Melissa's a flake. We've known that for years.
right.
Brandy is negative. We've known that for, you have both had that screamed at you
Yeah,
multiple
like,
times.
what are you gonna say, right?
Duh. I'm aware.
Oh, I know. If I could fix it, I would, but I actually don't want to. I'm totally fine. So anyway, the funniest part about this is that I don't think Charlotte was prepared to hear what Brandy and I had to say.
Yeah.
And I think we offended her.
I think she thought it was gonna
I
knock
don't have
you.
anything bad to say about you.
Well, and I think it was probably she thought it was gonna knock you down a peg.
Yeah.
And just like the elders, when it got to be Tom's turn, everyone stared at the floor and no one wanted to say anything. And it was Chimney who's the only one who had the balls enough to be like, I'll go.
Oh, go. Yep.
You know, because did Miss America say anything negative about Charlotte?
Not really. Like, it was very
Hearts and flowers.
yeah, like the easiest, like, yeah, we all know that. Like, it was one of those things where she'd be like, yeah, I know. Right? I can't remember what she said, but it was something like dumb. And Brandy and I were a little bit more, ballsy with it, a little more open and honest with it. But apparently I offended her because she brought it up later on. She made a snide comment about it because I said she was a little slow, like, not like mentally, but I was like a little like not hip with the times.
Yeah,
like,
behind the times. Like,
behind the time, like, that was part of it. I was like, you just like don't want to evolve, right?
Yeah.
You're very hesitant to change. I mean, I used all the politically correct words, hesitant to change. Sometimes you take a little long to make decisions. You worry a little too much about what people are going to think when we kind of need to move forward on things, right? That's kind of what I said.
Yeah.
But that's true. But anyway, like, I think like a week or so later, she was like, that's because I'm, if I wasn't so slow about doing things.
Which,
you know what I mean? So
I'm sorry. I wasn't allowed to be sarcastic, but she can be friggin' passive aggressive like that. Like, come on.
Okay, so we get to talking about Miss America. And I said, I feel like you're very aloof.
That was
and she
a very kind way of putting it.
She looked at me and she goes, I don't know what that word means. So I had to then describe what aloof means.
Well, I guess when you're a trad wife and you're not allowed to like have a mind for yourself.
Like you're standoffish.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm like no, you're not everybody's friend. You're trapping people in the corner. Like nobody wants to talk to you. Like you are like you come off as better than everybody else, very standoffish and very withdrawn. You're not open. You don't have an open personality. She was floored because she thinks she's
Miss
Miss
America.
So yeah. Okay, so I don't remember everything that was said at that meeting, but I kid you not when I say it was so traumatizing and it was weird. And Brandy and I left that meeting and we were just like, WTF? Like
Well,
for real.
and like part of it is because like 4 years have passed, but also like you guys couldn't remember everything that happened right after that meeting because Brandy called me.
Yeah.
And she's like, I was so mad in this meeting, I stopped even listening. Like, I stopped even paying attention.
I disassociated in this
Yeah.
meeting so fast.
Yeah.
That it was like, I just wanted to leave. Like, this did not make things better. There was no good feelings about this meeting whatsoever. And like, I really literally only remember Miss America saying to me, I don't know what aloof means. What is that? And I was like,
did she cry?
yes. And to me, I do remember, like, because I remember feeling like this is a woman who totes herself around as being so educated and knowing all kinds of things. But when I used the word aloof, she was so offended that I would use such a high vocabulary word, right? Like, I mean, it was weird. The word aloof caused this whole big thing because I made her feel stupid because she didn't know what aloof meant. And okay, like I'm not going to criticize anybody for not.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if you don't know a word, that's fine. But if you are walking around and you're presenting yourself as, I am the smartest person in the room, I am the most well-off person in the room, I am the most spiritual person in the room, everyone in the room wants to be me.
Yeah.
Because that's very much how she came off. When she walked in a room, you could tell she thought her shit did not stink at all. And the rest of us were envious of her.
Right. That's what she thought.
That's what she thought. And
I don't know what she thought. I don't know what she was told was going to happen in that meeting. Like, well, I don't know
like,
if
also,
she was excited as Brandy and I.
I'm sorry. What the hell was Charlotte thinking? Like, you're going to take these women who, like, let's just look at the dynamics for a second. If you're going to run a exercise like that, like the men did it and they had been working together for months at that point. Yeah. You know, and like,
and it was part of like a curriculum where you were building each other up and working on your strengths, and part of building yourself up and being your strengths and stuff is looking at the areas that you might be blinded by. And I could see that in a leadership training.
Yeah, and you work up to this exercise. You don't take a group of 3 women, 2 of them that are clearly friends and have a relationship with each other, and then a 3rd woman that they all have issues with each other, and then you're like, what did Charlotte think was going to happen here?
No, and I feel like Brandy and I in that meeting was like, I don't know if I've ever seen this TikTok, but I could just hear like the pretty common TikTok sounds, right? And I was like, you're a bitch. She's like, no, you're a bitch.
Yeah, no.
No, you're a bitch. I know I'm a bitch and you're a bitch. Like, that's how I feel like her and I handled this meeting.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 were completely offended that we had anything negative. Why would you ask me and Brandy to tell you what we really think?
And that's the other thing. Why would you pick those 2 women? You want your ass kissed? Invite Barbara Jean. Invite Twyla. Like, there is a whole church full of women that you could invite that they would kiss your
Girl, you
ass
had
and
a
tell
bad
you
hair.
how wonderful you are.
Yeah, while telling you something negative about yourself, they'll be like, oh, sometimes you just have a bad hair day. That's the worst thing I could think about you.
But you asked Brady and Melissa to tell you.
What we really think so you could be offended. I do feel like Brandy and we heard the assignment and we were like, game on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like.
I have a question. Did you actually go to retreat then? After all of this? No.
No, hell no.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
I was just curious.
Not at all. My time, like, I was literally, could you imagine, like, I have a big toe in the door at church and the rest of my body's hanging out, and I'm like, I'm still showing up. That's how I was in my marriage. Like, every week.
But just on a Sunday morning.
Out the door. Yeah, and we sat in the lobby.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the worship team anymore. I worked Sunday afternoons, but like I'd show up and I wasn't one of those wives bitching that her husband sits out in the lobby, not like with the TV on and
Yeah.
It was me, Twyla's husband, your husband, and my husband. We'd all sit around outside and those guys would just talk guy talk. They weren't paying attention to the church, right? But I mean, not at this time because you guys had already left. But I mean, back in the day, like you'd catch the guys sitting around a table talking shop or whatever. But, yeah. I mean, yeah, I was sitting out in the lobby, not paying attention, watching my husband play on his phone.
Yep.
Just sitting there saying hi,
Well, and I feel like so many people like just made an appearance.
Yeah.
Like even the people who were like serving in children's ministry, like they made an appearance so that Tom or Charlotte could see them. And then they went to their classroom and, they didn't come out at the end and have refreshments or, and they never served anywhere else or, did anything, and even like at this point, like Brandy had stopped going to service and she just found things to keep her busy during service.
Yeah, Brandy and I would like meet up at this point and giggle in the corner,
Yeah.
It's like whatever, like nobody was really participating at this point. So yeah, weirdest meeting I've ever been in. Really traumatizing. Like I don't remember all that was said, but it was, and it wasn't the stuff that was said. It was just like whack.
It's the fact that your pastor's wife, your mother-in-law, would do this to you.
Right. Like, you're going to put me on the spot. Like, I understand if we're like, I don't know where she thought that this was going to help the situation. Like, it felt like a punishment. It was a punishment. And when I look at, like, so what, right? Because nothing they said offended me.
Yeah.
Like, none of them said anything that I'd be like, yeah, no duh. Like, you know, like literally. I was not mad. My feelings were not hurt. But to be put in a position like that and the open manipulation and domineering control of the situation that Charlotte presented, and it was, somebody should psychoanalyze that meeting.
Yeah.
Because there were underlying tones that were far more present and traumatizing than just the sheer fact of the meeting. Like, it was whack. That's all I could say about that.
Did you get the feeling that maybe like Charlotte had talked to Miss America ahead of time?
Oh yeah, I have that gut feeling. Like, that's where I'm like, I don't know what, like, I feel like it was team me and Brandy versus team Miss America and Charlotte. And like, maybe they had rehearsed. Maybe she knew ahead of time what was going to happen, right? But then, like, for them to get so offended by what was said, like, and yeah, Miss America cried. Charlotte kept her wherewithal in the meeting. It was the snide comment, like, during the week when she was like, maybe because I'm so slow. Yep, you slow. Catch up. It's totally what I meant. What I said was you an old lady. We got to come out of 1990. Like, come on.
Yeah. That's not your mama's women's ministry anymore.
Yeah, like, I mean, and nothing I haven't said before. I just said it directly to her. But, yeah, and even, like, Brandy was, like, nicer than she needed to be. I was nicer than I needed to be, right? Even though we were like, oh, okay, we'll tell you. We still did it nicely. But yeah, such a weird meeting.
Burning Butterflies is a listener-supported podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by our amazing supporters on Patreon.
Follow the link in our show notes to learn how you can become a Patreon supporter too. Supporters get exclusive access to bonus content each month, including outtakes, cut content, and supporter-only episodes. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating on your listening platform.
Burning Butterflies is a production of Asha Media. Thank you for listening.